Good morning, Eastern Stars.
Today is Thursday, March 21st, 2024. I'm Colin.
I'm Mr. Cooper.
And I'm Zanny.
Lunch today.
First choice is turkey sausage, eggs, and cheese on an English muffin with tater tots. Second choice is baked chicken patty on a bun. Third choice is some butter jelly with yogurt and crackers.
Happy birthday to Maggie in Mrs. Annalyn's class and Keelan in Mrs. Schumbarger's class.
Over spring break, we have 14 birthdays to celebrate. Happy birthday to William in Mrs. Ferguson's class, Rob in Mrs. Annalyn's class, Jaden in Mrs. Brott's class, Maddie in Mrs. Nelson's class.
I'll continue on. Happy birthday to Pierce in Mrs. Brott's class, Martia in Mrs. Lute's class, Garrett in Mrs. Odette's class, Teddy in Mrs. Ross's class, Lucy in Mrs. Edwardson's class,
Jude in Mrs. Lutz's class, TJ in Mrs. Stout's class, Lila in Mrs. Stout's class.
I think that's just Isla.
Isla in Mrs. Stout's class, Ashley in Mrs. Annalyn's class, and Olin in Mrs. Sarah's class.
Also, it is Mrs. Nelson's birthday on March 30th. Happy birthday, everyone.
It's going to be chilly again today. I think everybody was rudely surprised by how cold it was on the playground. Am I right?
Yeah.
It was extra super duper cold, so make sure you bundle up today. What's this special announcement?
We have 1 day until spring break.
That's it. Today's the last day of school. Some shout outs.
Max and Mrs. Fack's class would like to give a shout out to Eve for being a good friend in art.
Mrs. Nelson would like to give a shout out to Maddie and Kennedy for their messages of hope, friendship, and kindness.
Mrs. LeBerry would like to give a shout out to Soren for walking with her at recess yesterday so we could try and stay warm. She would also like to give a shout out to Mick for taking time to include a classmate.
And I have a very special shout out. It is to Zanny and Colin and Riley, who's not here this morning, but this is their very last day on the announcements. So I just want to give them a shout out and say thank you for bringing everybody the announcements. They did a great job. We will have a new crew on April 1st when we're back from spring break. And there is a question, a little riddle. Who wrote that?
Probably.
Okay, what's your riddle, Zanny?
What can run but never walk?
Let's give them a second to think about that. What can run but never walk? Tell us.
A river.
Oh, I get it. A river. That's a good one, Zanny. Now, I have a couple of things to showcase. A couple of very nice pieces of artwork. First of all, this is from Rosie Obranovic. Look at the colors. Ready for it? It's a pop out. Woo! That's a big old tongue. I know you took a lot of time on this, Rosie. Great job. And this one is by Mac in Miss Meyer's class. Oh, it hatched. Look at that. Tweet. What does that say? Tweeteroni? Clever. Okay, I think that is all we've got for you. Oh, good, thank you. I just got a little message from Mrs. Lutz there. Okay, we got some action going on in here. That is Newton losing some skin right there, taking a bath with Nubbins. So, oh, okay, yeah, what's in here? This was from, who did we say this was?
Andre.
This was from Andre. Found this on a walk or someplace, I'm not sure where. Ooh, another beehive. Lots of these laying around on the trails, I think. Let's put that back in there. Help me out. Okay. That is it. Send them off for the last time. That's all for today.
Remember to be safe, trustworthy, attentive, and respectful. Be a star. Have a thrilling Thursday and a wonderful spring break. And please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.